Sports cars. Just about every car enthusiast wants a sports car and dreams of owning one in the future, so why do we not see them as much anymore? Back in the 80s and 90s, sports cars were a pretty common sight on the road. Not everywhere, but enough that you'd spot them without having to look too hard. Fast forward to today, and you could drive hundreds of miles without seeing a single one. Where did they all go? Now, you might think the answer is pretty straightforward, but there's actually a lot more to it than you'd expect. We've got a lot to cover, so let's jump right in. If you ask any car enthusiast today why they don't own a sports car, you'll likely hear the same answer. They're just too expensive, and they're right. Just look at the price tags for a new 2025 Supra, Mustang, Nissan Z, or a Cadillac CT5, all starting above $50,000. That's a big chunk of change, especially when sports cars were originally meant to be more accessible versions of supercars or high-performance vehicles. Sure, they should cost more than, say, a Corolla, but with today's prices, you could buy multiple entry-level cars for the same price of one modern Supra. Back in the day, sports cars were affordable. Even really affordable. High school parking lots back in the 90s were full of models like the Mitsubishi 3000 GT, Camaros, and maybe a Corvette here and there. Today's sports cars weren't just popular for their looks and performance. They were popular because they were cheap and accessible enough for younger drivers to buy new at the time. So, why are they now priced out of reach for the average person? It's all about a shift in perception. Automakers used to market sports cars as fun, affordable cars anyone could drive. Nowadays, they have become luxury items. Luxury vehicles have higher profit margins. Just look at Lexus, a brand literally built on that principle. Why would brands sell a $20,000 car when they could go all out and charge for a $50,000 top-of-the-line model? After all, luxury vehicles make up 20% of all car sales in the US, so it's obvious why they make the most profit. And that's where things start to feel off. Brands assume that only wealthy buyers are interested in sports cars. While there's some truth to that, it forgets the purpose sports cars were originally built for. Fun, accessible driving for everyone, not just a luxury experience for the elite. By doing this, it's making these cars more appealing for wealthy buyers, because they're the ones willing to fork out that extra cash, unlike, say, a random high school dropout. Another reason why no one's buying sports cars is safety concerns. Brands are moving away from high-performance, exciting vehicles, and each year it feels like another model gets discontinued. Take the Dodge Charger, Audi R8, the Chrysler 300, and even the Kia Stinger, now all discontinued in favor of, you guessed it, crossovers and SUVs. Why? Because Americans refuse to buy small cars for some reason. I already made a dedicated video to this, but to sum it up, studies have shown Americans prefer pickup trucks and SUVs because they're higher off the ground, supposedly safer in a crash, and they have this whole tougher look. Another reason? Drivers in small cars get nervous sharing the roads with cars that look like this, so they switch to SUVs too. It's a chain reaction. As soon as one person ditches their compact car, everyone else feels like they need to keep up for safety reasons. That's exactly what's going on right now. Back then, people felt safe in sports cars because they were surrounded by other cars of similar size, which means if they both get into a collision, they are what's called crash compatible. Nowadays, Europe SUVs the size of tanks, and if a sports car crashes with one of those, well, it won't look too good. So safety is a major factor in play here, especially in the American market. Another reason why sports cars aren't selling well is that young people are less interested in them. Sure, in 2025, there are more car enthusiasts than ever, but despite this surge in fans, sports car sales remain low. One major factor is that many young people today lack experience with sports cars. Back in the day, it was common for families to own a sports car, giving kids a taste of that thrilling driving experience. But now, with fewer opportunities to drive one, it's no wonder why they're left scratching their heads about why they'd even want a sports car. Additionally, let's be real, sports cars are harder to maintain. While this is pretty obvious, many young people simply don't want the added responsibility that comes with owning one. Who wants to worry about keeping up with all that performance tuning and high fuel costs when you could just stick to a reliable daily driver? Finally, there's the issue of cultural icon status. Sports cars used to be seen as symbols of status and freedom, but that view has changed. Younger generations now lean more towards practicality and sustainability, which diminishes the appeal of high-performance vehicles. So while the love for cars may be growing, the allure of sports cars is fading fast. The decline in sports cars can be attributed to a variety of factors, but just because sports cars aren't flying off the lot doesn't mean every other car is boring. You can still have a blast driving many vehicles out there. So, what does the future hold for sports cars? There's actually some hope left. Yeah, I know, it feels like everything's just heading straight for boring, lifeless EVs with touchscreens, fake engine sounds, and zero soul, but if you actually dig a little deeper, there's some fire still left in the industry. You have to look in the right places. Take Toyota and the GR lineup. We still got manual transmissions, we still got turbocharged engines, we still got rear-wheel drive in some cases. They're not chasing spec sheet numbers for the sake of it. They're trying to build cars that feel alive, that matter. The GR Corolla and GR86 aren't half-hearted efforts. They're proper enthusiast cars that came out at a time where they didn't really have to exist, and that says a lot. And they're not alone. Mazda still seems to care with the Miata. Say what you want about how small or underpowered it is, but it's one of the last cars on sale that gives you that feeling. The direct analog connection to the road. Light, nimble, honest, no fake crap, no tech overload, just you and drive. For being a sports car, it's actually priced fairly, and you could even find one under $25K if you look hard enough. Even brands you'd never expect to care are trying. Hyundai. Yeah, Hyundai. Dropped the Elantra N and Kona N. All raw, turbocharged with real character. They're weird, they're flawed, but they're fun in a way most modern cars aren't even trying to be anymore. And sure, we're also getting stuff like the new Z. Is it perfect? Not even close, but it exists and that means something. In 2025, getting a twin-turbo V6, a rear-wheel drive coupe with the manual transmission, that's already a miracle. The truth is, the future of sports cars won't be about chasing crazy horsepower or the fastest Nürburgring lap. It's all about emotion. It'll be about the cars that feel right, not about the ones that just test well on paper. Because we're hitting a wall. We've already seen 1,000 horsepower cars. We've seen hypercars with torque vectoring, AI steering, and more screens than a Best Buy. But guess what? They're getting boring. They're starting to all feel the same. The cars will people remember in the next 20 years? Probably not the ones that breaking lap records. It's the ones that gave them moments. And if automakers start to understand that again, that sports cars should be memorable, not just impressive, then yeah, there's still some hope left. Some real hope. Because no EV will ever replace the joy of nailing a perfect downshift in an old school manual, or the sound of an engine that's actually working with you, not faking it for you. So while the future looks dull, it's not dead. Yet. Thanks for watching, and remember people, drive safe, drive smart, but most importantly, drive something worth talking about. See you in the next one.